وشعب العراق وأراضي العراق.
Iraq's Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi announces victory over ISIL in Mosul.
أيها العراقيون انتصارنا اليوم.
Dear Iraqis, our victory today is a victory against tyranny and against barbarism. I announce from here to the whole world the end, the failure and the collapse of the terrorist state of ISIL. From this province of Mosul, where they first announced their state, with thanks to God we managed to achieve this victory and throw ISIL into the dustbin of history.
In the hours before al-Abadi's announcement, Iraqi anti-terror units had struggled in the battle with what the military said were only a few dozen ISIL fighters defending between 50 and 100 buildings on the west bank of the Tigris River. After almost 9 months of fighting, the city has been almost completely destroyed. Bodies of ISIL fighters lie on the streets, and along the rubble-strewn alleys, terrified civilians have appeared. The men are stripped to the waist, having been checked by the Iraqi military for suicide vests. Exhausted, underweight and traumatized, they've spent months hiding in their homes, 3 years living under ISIL.
ISIL have ruined us. They took my husband away. We fled towards the security forces. May God help us.
The Iraqi security forces have hoisted flags close to the river. Commanders say they are still concerned about ISIL sleeper cells operating in the area. This hospital in the Kurdish region of northern Iraq has been treating some of the wounded. Nazira was injured when a mortar hit her home in western Mosul. Her son was killed in the attack. The fighting was so intense it was 2 weeks before she could be taken to hospital. 8-year-old Hoda's mother was killed by the mortar that destroyed her home. She's been lying in this hospital, barely able to move, for 3 months. Hospitals in the Kurdish region of Iraq have treated around 30,000 people injured in the battle for Mosul. Around 5,000 to 7,000 of those suffering serious head and spine injuries. This is 8-year-old Jumana. Now, according to her family, their home in western Mosul was taken control of by ISIL. ISIL told them not to move, not to leave the home, and ISIL set up sniper positions on the roof. And she got her head injury as a result of an airstrike targeting her home. It's a graphic example of how ISIL hid among civilians, fought among civilians, and often used them as human shields. The UN says almost 1 million people were forced to flee the fighting. These are some of the last to leave the destroyed remains of what they once called home. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera, Erbil.